You are listening to Where I Come From, produced by Coastal Youth Media.
I'm Rosie.
I'm Madison.
My name's Lydia.
My name's Natasha.
My name is Cece. Each of us read a poem by North Carolina poet laureate Jaki Shelton Green called Paper Dolls. Maybe it is the value we place on Duke's mayonnaise, the sandwich spread for queens, whatever, wherever, and forevermore. We are little girls revisiting space, rebuilding houses, renaming mothers. Perhaps it is the secret, knotted inside the pleats of skirt hems, sewn along scarf edges, fringed secret whispers, the whisper, a familiar smell. Whatever we become, sisters, stilling a moment to cast word spells.
When you think of paper dolls, you think of things that can be cut and manipulated into how the maker wants them to be. In this aspect, they're adorning themselves and they're dressing themselves up to make themselves hide an aspect of their life or emphasize an aspect of their life.
I like that kind of reflection of her own experiences, and then how she goes into like this little spiral of like historical.
And then again, talking about the dolls, like when we think about paper dolls, it's like how you draw it and how you want it to draw. Either they're giving life a chance to outline them, or they're taking a hold of their narrative and they're writing their own paper doll, like they're drawing their own story.
After discussing how Miss Green told her stories in print, our workshop hosted Brittani Smith, an Eastern North Carolina poet, and she performed a spoken word piece for us.
Sometimes I hate being a writer. It's like always carrying around the expectancy of the non-creator to turn tragedy into triumph, wounds into wonder, assault into art, trauma into a carefully crafted legacy of all the horrid experiences that I have had to live through for your entertainment. I mean, as if being a Black woman breathing isn't enough. No, you must write and write and write and write and then keep writing, and be sure to find a catchy flow to capture the listener's attention, because if they don't like it, then whatever pain you're talking about suddenly becomes invalid. I hate being a writer.
Wow. What I realized was, at the same time you hated being a writer, but how else are you going to express yourself, or how else is anybody going to get on the same connection as you if they don't know what's going on? But it's kind of like a contrast in some way, because sometimes you don't want to relive all this stuff, but it has to be said.
In the sense that you were saying, I need to have a mark, I need to have proof that I was here, because without that, people around me, or just in general, society will dismiss my existence, and how difficult that can be. Just the thought of that in general is just challenging for anyone, especially as a Black woman.
I just thought that your delivery was really amazing, and I think it really added a lot to how the mood or tone of the poem, it definitely really helped. It was amazing, honestly.
Do you have some words of wisdom for folks thinking about poems that they're creating for the first time, how to think about work like that or this phase?
Be truthful, be as transparent as you want to be, but make sure your art is always for you. If you were standing in a 50,000 person auditorium and it was completely empty, could you deliver this piece and it do for you what it needed to do for you? You have to understand that no matter where you go, no matter who you recite a piece to, everyone is not going to like it. And you have to learn how to be okay with that. One of the hardest things about being a spoken word artist is that pretty much everything we write is us putting our heart on our literal hand and showing it to people, putting all of our dirty, all of our ugly out. And showing it to people and knowing that you risk somebody talking about you. But one thing I've learned is that if I tell you my ugly parts up front, you can't come back and use them against me. Because usually we're only embarrassed by something if it's a secret and it was meant to keep a secret.
We have been reading and listening to poems by North Carolina poets who tell stories about their lives. We hope you found their works as interesting as we did. Coming up next is our final projects. We're each telling the story of where we come from in Carteret County by writing and performing our own spoken word poems. Where I Come From is a project of Coastal Youth Media in collaboration with I Am Her in Beaufort, North Carolina. This project is funded in part by a grant from the Carteret County Arts Council and the North Carolina Arts Council, with additional funding from the North Carolina Local News Lab Fund.